What is up? This is Texas doing. This is my very first podcast, so I don't really know fully what I'm doing. Hopefully I can get this on YouTube. If I can't get this on YouTube, then I don't know. I'm just trying something new. And like I just said, we're trying something new. So this is my podcast for today. And I just feel like talking about random stuff until I figure out if I really want to do this or not. So I just uploaded a video about 24 hours ago about how I cam the Nissan Xterra with a cam, and it's actually called the Euro cam, which is a mild cam. I can't give you the exact numbers of the air and all that. And then I put the headers on, and I put a whole new head on, and honestly, I enjoy it a lot. Was it worth the money? Not exactly. It does give it more power, but not as big as bang as for your buck, if you get what I'm saying. It's really not worth the hassle. If you're going to do it yourself like I did, then go for it. But if you're going to have someone else do it, and you're going to pay the money to buy the headers, you're going to pay the money to buy the heads, and the cam and all that, and then have someone else do it, it just ain't worth it. I honestly don't see that big of a gain. Now, if I was able to get a tunable ECU, then yes, absolutely, I think it could be worth it, because you could actually be able to build power off of your mods. But on the first gen Xterras, they never made the ECU programmable unless you go take it in, and I just don't have time for that, nor the money. But for just doing it and not having a program, it's not even worth it. That's my opinion. But does it sound nice? Yes. Is it as loud as I was expecting? No. Open headers, yes. I drove around for open headers for probably about 2 weeks, and I was honestly scared I was going to get pulled over. I went straight to work, straight back home. And anytime I came near a police officer, I found a little sweet spot that made it super, super quiet. It was ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. Now, I know that I had the car down for a long time after doing the job, and that was because I was having issues with all the sensors giving me the check engine light. And so my biggest thing is the cooling sensors, the temperature gauge sensors, all that stuff. The connections broke on me, and so that was one thing. So I couldn't get a clean reading, and we ended up rigging up a different connection, me and the shop that I go to for stuff. And so I don't even know what the connectors are from. They just found it, and they soldered it into my line and made it fit to my sensors. Anyways, that was ridiculous. Another thing is my idle air control, the valve, I don't even know what happened to it. Apparently, it went bad during the whole swap. And so, the first time I was, starting it up, it wouldn't do anything. I started it up, and it ran, and of course my timing was off because we didn't time it yet. And I tried to pull it out of the garage, and it just kept stalling, and it was the idle air control. And then the knock sensor was a big issue for me as well. And honestly, I think I'm still having issues with that. It keeps popping back up as a code, and that's a very well known thing on this Nissans, on the Xterras and Frontiers. Now, I've never had an issue with it, but now I'm having a serious issue, and it's being quite annoying because I don't even have rod knock, so it just keeps saying error. You need a new sensor, and I'm just like, okay, and I'm about to just do a relocation on it because that's a big thing on it. And then I had a coolant leak at one point due to the gaskets not being sealed, so we did that. And then as soon as I got my car back up and running, the rear main seal came out, or it gave out, and therefore I had to put it right back in because I don't have a transmission puller, so I had to give that back to my people at the shop. And I was like, look, I know we just finished this car, but the rear main seal finally gave out. I shot oil everywhere. It was ridiculous. And so they took care of it within a week, and it's been pretty good ever since, although it's just one thing after another. Since that happened, the alternator decided, I'm not going to charge correctly. And so then I started getting the light for incorrect charging and all this. And I have an aftermarket alternator, and I talked to them, and they're like, oh, yeah, just ship it up here, and we'll look at it and everything else. But I was like, what am I supposed to do for the meantime? And they didn't really give me an answer. So I had to go to O'Reilly's and buy a regular stock alternator, and I swapped that in. Other than that, it's been running great. I think the oil pump is going out, which is kind of like, I hate saying, because I was literally just down at that part of the engine replacing the water pump and everything else, and now I see the oil pump starting to fail. And the only reason I say that is because anytime I'm driving with a higher RPM or faster speeds, like on the freeway, when I slow down and get off of the freeway, you'll hear the ellipters tick, and then it will slowly quiet up as you go back to normal speeds. Therefore, the oil, is not circulating very well, so I think it has low pressure, and so that's not fun to know that I have to deal with soon. And since we did the heads and everything, everything gets touched, and the power steering is literally like, it does not want to be there anymore. It leaks and is annoying and ridiculous. I'm about to just think about doing a power steering delete, because I don't want to deal with it. But at the same time, it works. It's just annoying. And I fill it up and it gets quiet, but then it leaks. And I don't even know where it's leaking from yet. I just know it only leaks when it's being used during a parking lot. You drive down the road, it's quiet, it does not leak. And then you go through a parking lot and you start leaking and being really loud. But I say it was pretty fun to do the build. Exhaust was an issue. The stock OEM exhaust from the downpipe cat to the secondary cat were like welded together. I could not get those two flanges apart, and so I ended up having to chop it off just to get them apart. And then I had to actually grind off the bolts after it was out from underneath the car, and then re-weld the flange back onto the pipe. And then after we got all that done, I was like, all right, cool, let's bolt it in. Well, the person I had weld the flange back to the pipe didn't put it in the right angle, so the cat pipe literally shoots straight up into the cab. And I was like, well, this ain't gonna work. So I had to chop it again, and then I ended up going to a muffler shop to get them to do it. It wasn't that expensive. It was only $45. It was they charged me for a reconnecting exhaust fee or whatever. And he was so mad. He was like, this angle is not working. And he tried blaming my headers. He was like, headers do not line up. But I didn't have a problem on the passenger side. It's because of the weld on the driver's side. I tried telling him that, but he wasn't listening. Anyways, got that finally taken care of. Now it's like, since the weld's off, when you get on it, you'll hear the pipe hit the undercarriage of the vehicle just a little bit under the driver's side, but it ain't that big of a deal. First it bothered me, and now I'm already used to it. And that's only if you get on it, like on it. Other than that, man, it took a bit. It was a lot of hard work. It was frustrating. Despite the part where I broke a head bolt. I'm over here reading my torque chart on how to put the heads on correctly, and for some weird reason they say torque your sub head bolts, which I didn't even really know my car had, but it's this little tiny 10mm bolt on the back that doesn't even seem like it could take 70 pounds. It said torque to 70 pounds during the head bolt pattern, and it really threw me off. And so I'm over here torquing the head bolt, trying to get it to, like, I did my first 3 waves of torquing, and then the final wave, I'm over here trying to get it to 70 pounds, and I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work. And I'm torquing, and then I hear this loud bang, and dude, I instantly just yelled of outrage and frustration, and was like, no. I threw my ratchet either at the wall or the ground. I don't even remember. I threw it. I jumped off the vehicle because I was sitting on top, and I just like went over to the driver door and just started like crying. I was like, I do not feel like pulling this engine to go get it remachined to get this bolt out. I was having a heart attack. I was like, no, I can't afford this. The head bolt snapped inside the freaking block, and then before I even tried messing with it, I was like, well, I'm gonna go buy some reverse drill bits from Lowe's. So I went to Lowe's, bought them. Then as soon as I got there to try to take it out, it's like the thread, when it broke, did this little twist into the bolt. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it like twisted around, making a good like little grip spot. And so I ended up getting a flathead and putting it right against that, and just hitting it with a mallet in reverse order around in a circle, like unscrewing it, because pretty much all it did was break from what would you call that? It's like grounding out. Like, seems like it went too far to the bottom and it had nowhere else to go, so it just broke where the tension was. Basically, it was already at the bottom, and so it came out really smoothly. And then I ended up just replacing that one head bolt that I broke with an old head bolt, which, you know, it's not really recommended to do, but I was not going to buy a whole new set of head bolts just for one bolt that broke. And then I had a few issues with that on the rockers because I think I had cheap rocker bolts. I did not buy those. I actually bought the heads pre-built from someone else, fairly cheap. That's why I bought them. I had to drive all the way up to North Houston to go pick up the heads. But it was so worth it. They had brand new seals, brand new valves, brand new everything. And so it made my job easier. Because originally I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to do the cam. Actually, I don't even think I was thinking of a cam at first. I was like, I'm going to get these headers put on. I was thinking of how I'm going to get these exhaust bolts on without breaking the studs or anything. Because my car was definitely, I was looking at that and I was really scared about it. And I was like, you know what? I'll just put it all in these new heads and then just replace the heads. Which is what I did. It's been about 5,000 miles since I've done it. Probably more than that now. And it's running like a charm, no issues. Other than what I already told you. And I think the knock sensor's just being a pain. I mean, I already discussed that with y'all, but it's just like that light keeps coming on and off, on and off. And every time I see it come on, I'm just like, oh, I'm not even worried about what that code is because I know it's probably a knock sensor. But yeah, this is my first little podcast. I hope y'all guys like it. And this is the story of me building that Xterra back up. This is all new to me, but I figured I'd try podcasting because I have more time to talk than do video editing. So this is something new. Let me know if y'all like it. Anyways, this is Texas Dylan. I'm out.
Was a kid, all I had was a dream. More money, more problems. When I get it, I'ma pile it up. Now I'm dope on the bread, we can toast so fresh. How we flow, everybody get this down from us. Once was a kid with the other little kids. Now I'm ripping up shows and them fans going wild with us. Tell mommy I'm sorry, this life is a party. I'm never growing up. Can I please get a little bit of knowledge? Somebody tell Rolf that I don't love college. Cause the real world's kinda like real world. And it's drama, so you are fat line.